pressure on you though? Like, is there some for people to see you in a different role? It's not Edward. You know, you're playing a completely different character here, and you want people to. You think it'll be more pressure to separate the two?
Yeah, I mean it's funny doing like franchise things because like people always judge it in terms of that. Well, they don't always, but I mean, if you're unlucky, they do. Which is, you know, it's a funny situation to be in, you know, when people can't see something as an independent entity. But at the same time, without all the Twilight movies, I don't think this movie would have got made. I mean, it had been trying to get financing for like 2.5 years, and it was really difficult because it didn't fit into the typical genres. So I think, you know, it's a good thing that came out of it. You know, it's the kind of price you have to pay. But you know, I hope people just don't get completely, doesn't get eclipsed by the fact that you know, there's a Twilight connection. There's something which was great about Piers. He's so comfortable in himself, and so, he got this sort of immense confidence about him, which is great for Tyler, who's kind of really self-conscious and, you know, thinking everything that comes out of his mouth is not exactly the right thing to say, but at the same time he's just desperate to break his dad's confidence and his kind of, you know, his dad's just always sitting on his high horse no matter what, and so Piers is kind of like the perfect person for it, because you know you're never going to shatter him, which is the only reason Tyler's fighting against him in the first place. He doesn't fight against his mother because his mother wouldn't be able to take it. She's already completely broken. Yeah, and he's like kind of perfect casting for it.
Did he take you sort of under his wing and kind of teach you the ropes a little bit? And was it nice?
Yeah, I mean, he's good at making things seem not less important, but like less of a big deal. I mean, he makes things easier. I mean, the first time I met him, I went out to dinner, and there were these people looking around at him in the restaurant, and these kind of banker guys. He's obviously like a sort of idol to these guys.
There's James Bond.
Yeah, and they're also looking around sniggering. And if that was happening to me, I'd just be like sitting there like stewing and just wanting to murder someone.
Try to hide under the table and get out of there.
Yeah, and he went up and like just introduced himself to them, and because he has this immense confidence, and he's just like, yeah, it's like, what are your guys' names? And like when I first saw him doing it, I was like, you're nuts! Like, what are you doing? And immediately they have this little chat, and they realize like, you know, he's a completely nice guy, yeah, and they don't look round again either, and it's like, it's a completely, you know, it's not a sort of sideshow attraction in the restaurant anymore.
Is it pressure on you though? Like,
nuts! Like, what are you doing? And immediately they have this little chat, and they realize like, you know, he's a completely nice guy, yeah, and they don't look round again either, and it's like, it's a completely, you know, it's not a sort of sideshow attraction in the restaurant anymore.
For the press that came around this movie when it was filming, it was like the swarms of fans and paparazzis were following you when you were doing those outside scenes. I mean, how crazy did it get? Was it like surreal for you? I mean, you're supposed to be hit by a cab and you're alive.
That was the fun. that whole story originated because it was about 5:30 in the morning, and I just arrived at set. And I was walking across the street, and there was this one paparazzi guy, like, who just was so obviously just figured out how to use a camera and could not get a picture. And I was like walking across the street, and then this cab kind of nudged the side of my leg by accident. And so the guy's like, I didn't get a picture, so I might as well just sell this random story. And then the next day you see it on like CNN or something.
You're like in a coma.
I know. Like my mom's calling me up, going, "You buy a car?" And I'm just like, "What?" I didn't even know what the story. I couldn't even remember the cab being there. I mean, it was, and people have asked me in almost every single interview since then, like, "You got to buy a cab?" So I guess it's a good story.
All right, but I have to ask you about this one because you got a lot of women crying all over the world with your allergic to vagina comment. What is up with that? You want to clarify? Are you allergic to vaginas?
I was just talking about this earlier. I was just saying, like, I had 2 lessons. Don't try and make jokes in interviews, and then the second was like, just don't do interviews at all.
Vaginas, period.
Don't talk about vaginas. People are very sensitive about them. Like, I don't know. It's funny. Like, it's so funny how, you know, the whole reason I said the whole story was because I thought people would be offended by the photos.
Right.
And then they get offended by the little jokey explanation of it.
What is he saying?
I know. It's like, I don't know. The world's a weird place.
That's